I told you never to enter that room. How dare you touch her things? The billionaire's voice was loud like thunder in the big mansion. Charity stopped moving. Her heart was beating so fast. The green silk dress was on her body, the same dress that belonged to the woman who died, the woman whose memory still lived in this house. She turned around slowly. Her face was white with fear, but then something strange happened. The billionaire, Joshua, stopped shouting. His mouth opened. His eyes became big with shock. It was like the ground under his feet had disappeared. That face, those eyes, that smile. My friend, have you ever seen someone who looks exactly like the person you lost? Someone who makes your heart forget what is real? Tell us where you are watching from. Lagos, Abuja, Accra, Nairobi, Johannesburg, London, Paris, Toronto. Write your location below so we know how far love and pain can travel in this world. Don't forget to like this video to support good stories. Hit subscribe to my channel so you never miss those moments that make your heart stop and think. Joshua's feet started moving. He didn't think about it. 1 step, 2 steps. His hand reached out. It was shaking. He touched her waist like she might disappear like smoke. Rebecca? His voice broke. It was a whisper full of 2 years of pain. Charity couldn't speak. Fear and confusion held her tongue. She should run away. She should say sorry. But his eyes trapped her. She couldn't move. He pulled her closer. She didn't fight. She couldn't fight. His face came toward hers. Before her mind could think of all the reasons this was wrong, his lips touched hers. The kiss was hungry, desperate, like a man who was dying of thirst trying to drink water. Charity's world was spinning. This was her boss. This was not allowed. This was crazy. But his hands held her face so gently, with so much need. Something inside her melted. She kissed him back. She was lost in the moment, lost in the feeling of being wanted, of being seen, of being held like she mattered. He lifted her up. He carried her to the bed. He didn't stop kissing her. His hands were shaking as they touched the dress. The dress that started all this madness. Charity knew she should stop this. She knew this was a line they shouldn't cross. But lonely people recognize lonely people. 2 broken hearts reached for each other in the dark, looking for comfort, looking for escape from pain. He started removing the dress slowly. His hands were gentle. His eyes still saw someone else. And Charity, caught in the feeling of being wanted, let herself be someone else too. Someone important. Someone whose body deserved soft hands and kind words. Someone who was more than just a tired maid. Then his eyes changed. Reality came back. You're the maid. He tried to move away. But Charity's hands, acting on feeling only, pulled him back. She didn't want to be just the maid anymore. Not right now. Right now, she wanted to be the woman someone chose. Their bodies came together. 2 people running away from loneliness, looking for connection in the only way that made sense when words failed. Charity felt sharp pain because it was her first time. Tears ran down her face. Pain mixed with something else. Fear mixed with desire. Joshua held her through it. He said words she couldn't hear over her heart beating so loud. After, they lay quiet, both breathing hard. Reality was waiting outside the small bubble they made. Charity fell asleep. She was so tired. Her body hurt. Her emotions hurt. Joshua lay awake. He stared at the ceiling. His mind was clearing slowly. When morning light came through the curtains, Joshua sat on the edge of the bed. His head was in his hands. Charity was still sleeping. She looked peaceful, innocent. Her dark hair was spread on the pillow. He looked back and saw it, the red stain on the white bedsheet. Proof that she was pure, proof of what he took from her. God, what did I do? He whispered. He stood up fast and walked to the window. He put his forehead against the cold glass. He watched the city waking up below. He just slept with his maid. A young girl who was just starting her life. A girl who was a virgin until he, thinking about his dead wife, took that from her. His mind was racing. He could fire her, send her away with money, pretend this never happened. That's what rich men do, right? Make their mistakes disappear with cash. But the thought made him feel sick. He wasn't that kind of man, or he didn't want to be. He turned back to look at her. really look at her, not seeing Rebecca, seeing Charity, young, beautiful in a simple, real way, not polished by money, weak, sleeping in his bed after he took everything from her. What kind of man was he? His mother's words came to his mind. "Joshua, you're becoming someone I don't know. Where is the good man I raised?" He had no answer then. He had no answer now. To understand how they reached this impossible moment, we must go back to where it all started, when Charity was just a girl with big dreams, and Joshua was a man too broken to see anything but his pain. In a small village where red dust covered everything and hope was something only rich people could have, there lived a girl named Charity. She was 24 years old. Her dreams were bigger than the tiny house where she grew up. She dreamed of education, of respect, of money that could lift her family out of poverty. Her mother, Mama Blessing, worked in rich people's houses. She cleaned floors. She washed clothes. She worked until her hands cracked and bled. Charity watched her mother's back bend more every year. She watched tiredness put lines on her mother's face. And she made a promise. "Mama, one day I will take care of you. You won't have to clean anyone's toilet again." "Mama." Blessing smiled, her eyes filled with water. "My daughter, education is your weapon. Study hard, make something of yourself. That's all I want." Charity was studying business administration at the local college. She tried to balance her books with helping raise her two younger siblings. Samuel was 12 years old. Joy was 8. Every morning before classes, Charity helped make breakfast. Every evening after studying, she helped with homework and housework. The family survived on Mama Blessing's small salary and Charity's belief that tomorrow would be better, but fate doesn't ask before it strikes. One Tuesday afternoon, Charity was sitting in her economics class. She was taking notes. Her phone buzzed. Once, twice, 7 times. Her stomach felt tight. Something was wrong. The call destroyed her world. "Your mother fell down at work. Heart attack. She's gone. Gone." That one word erased the woman who was mother and father, the woman who gave everything, the base on which their whole life stood. At the funeral, Charity stood like a stone. Her eyes were dry. Tears felt too small for pain this big. Samuel held on to her, crying. Joy asked when Mama would come home, and Charity understood with crushing weight that she was now mother, father, and everything to them. The weight almost broke her. Mrs. Williams was the kind woman whose house Mama Blessing cleaned for years. She came to Charity after the burial. Her eyes were red from crying. She really loved Mama Blessing. "Your mother was like family to us. I want to help. Come work for us. Same job your mother did. But you can keep studying. We'll help you with your schedule." Charity wanted to say no. She dreamed of being someone who hired maids, not being one. But Samuel needed school fees. Joy needed food. The rent had to be paid. So she swallowed her pride and said yes. The Williams mansion was like a palace. Everything Charity ever wanted. Marble floors that went on forever. Crystal lights hanging from ceilings so high they touched the sky. 3 people lived in this big house. Joshua Williams, the young billionaire. His tech company changed banking across Africa. He was 32 years old, very handsome, but his eyes held so much sadness. He barely talked, barely smiled. He moved through his house like a ghost. Mrs. Williams, his mother, a woman with real kindness and a warm smile. She treated workers like humans. She remembered their birthdays. She asked about their families. Charity's mother loved working for her. And Linda, Joshua's 24-year-old sister. Beautiful and mean like a snake in expensive clothes. Where her mother was kind, Linda was cruel. Where Joshua was broken, Linda was sharp and cold. Charity learned fast that Joshua used to be different. The workers whispered stories of a man who laughed, who threw parties, who made rooms bright with his smile, a man who loved his wife Rebecca so much. When she died giving birth 2 years ago and the baby died too, Joshua died inside. Not his body, but the man he was stopped existing. He became distant, cold. He buried himself in work. He never let anyone enter the bedroom he shared with Rebecca. Her clothes stayed in the closet. Her perfume bottles sat on the table. Her books lay open on the bedside like she might come back to read them. The room was like a temple for a love that death stole. Mrs. Williams worried all the time. "Joshua, my son, you must move forward. Rebecca would want you to live again, to find happiness. She wouldn't want you trapped in this darkness." He would just walk away, his jaw tight, his eyes far away, like his mother's words meant nothing. Linda was different. She enjoyed being cruel. From Charity's first day, she made things clear. "Listen well, Maid. You're here to serve, not to think. Don't touch expensive things. Don't speak unless we talk to you first. And remember, you can be replaced easily. There are thousands of girls like you who need this job." Charity bit her tongue. She nodded. She needed this job. Samuel needed it. Joy needed it. She had to swallow her pride and take the insults. But Charity was not ordinary. Even in a maid's uniform, she carried herself with respect. She spoke with intelligence from education. She read books during breaks, and she never acted small. This made Linda angry. "Why does she walk around like she's important?" Linda said to her friends one day during lunch. She said it loud enough for Charity to hear while serving tea. "She's a maid. She should know her place." Charity put down the teacup carefully. She looked straight at Linda. "Being poor doesn't mean having no dignity, ma'am." The room went quiet. Linda's face turned red with anger, but Charity already turned and walked away, her back straight, her head high. From that day, there was war between them. Linda looked for ways to embarrass Charity. Charity refused to be embarrassed. She did her work perfectly. She spoke with respect, but never acted beneath anyone. She carried herself like someone who knew her worth, even when the world said she had none. Mrs. Williams watched quietly. She liked this girl. Despite everything, despite losing her mother, despite having to raise 2 siblings alone, Charity never lost herself. "You remind me of your mother," Mrs. Williams told her one evening. Charity was arranging flowers in the sitting room. She had the same strength, the same Charity under pressure. Charity's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Mom. That means so much to me. How are your brother and sister doing?" "They're trying, Mom. Samuel tries to be strong, but I hear him cry at night. Joy still puts a plate for Mama at dinner sometimes. She forgets Mama is gone." Mrs. Williams touched Charity's shoulder gently. "You're doing good work raising them. Your mother would be proud." Those words gave Charity strength when she was too tired to go on. Months passed like this. Charity cleaned, she cooked, she served. She studied late at night after going back to her small room near the mansion. She sent money to her aunt, who was taking care of Samuel and Joy temporarily. She went to classes when her work schedule allowed, and she stayed away from Joshua, who barely noticed anyone anyway. She saw him sometimes, moving through the house like a shadow. He never smiled, never talked unless he had to. He went to work before sunrise. He came back after dark. The only time she heard his voice was when he took business calls. His voice was sharp and commanding, completely different from the broken man who lived in this mansion. "He used to be so different," one of the older maids told Charity during a break, "always laughing, always planning surprises for Miss Rebecca. He loved her like she was the air he breathed. When she died, it was like watching someone drown on dry land." Charity felt unexpected sympathy. She understood loss. She understood how pain could make you empty inside, just a shell going through the motions. But sympathy didn't change reality. He was the billionaire. She was the maid. Their worlds would never touch beyond her serving his meals and cleaning his space. Or so she thought. Then came that evening in late November when everything changed. Charity was tired. She was counting the minutes until she could leave and check on Samuel's exam results. Linda appeared suddenly. Her eyes were shining with evil intention. "Charity, I need you to do something before you go today." "Yes, ma'am. Clean the master bedroom. Top to bottom. I want it perfect." Charity's body went cold. Everyone knew that room was forbidden. Joshua made it very clear on her first day. No one enters. No one touches anything. The room stayed exactly like Rebecca left it. "Ma'am, I don't think Mr. Joshua would want—" "Are you refusing?" Linda's smile was like a knife. "Maybe we should fire you. I'm sure there are other girls who would follow orders without asking questions." The threat hung in the air. Charity thought of Samuel's school fees due next week, Joy's doctor visit next month, the rent, her promise to her mother. "No, Mum, I'll clean it." Linda's eyes sparkled with victory as she walked away. She was already imagining the explosion that would come. Charity entered the forbidden room with her cleaning things. Her heart was beating so hard. The room felt frozen in time, like a museum keeping a moment that could never return. Wedding photos covered the walls. A woman's gentle smile looked out from every picture. Rebecca was beautiful, Charity thought. Kind eyes, warm smile, the kind of face that made you feel safe. She cleaned carefully. With respect, she understood this room held Joshua's deepest pain. Every object told a story. The book on the nightstand with a bookmark in the middle. The perfume bottle still holding her scent. The slippers by the bed waiting for feet that would never wear them again. She dusted the dresser with gentle hands. She swept the floors quietly. She changed the bedsheets carefully, like Rebecca herself might return and notice. Then she opened the closet to organize it, and that's when she saw it. The green dress hung like a dream, silk that caught the light and shined, simple but elegant. Clean lines that spoke of expensive taste. The kind of dress Charity only saw in magazines or worn by women whose lives were nothing like hers. Her fingers reached out before her mind could stop them. The fabric felt smooth, cool, impossibly soft, like water running through her hands. She remembered her mother telling her, "Charity, one day you will wear beautiful things. You will live in beautiful places. Don't stop believing." Something wild took over her. Before she could think, Charity put the dress over her head. It fit perfectly, like God was making a joke. It hugged her body exactly right. She stood in front of the big mirror. She barely recognized herself. For the first time in months, since her mother died and the world crashed on her, Charity didn't see a maid. She didn't see a struggling student. She didn't see a tired sister raising siblings. She saw a woman who belonged in mansions, a woman who could demand respect, a woman whose dreams were possible. She found makeup on the dresser, Rebecca's makeup. She put it on with shaking hands. Just this once, she told herself, fighting tears, just to see what it feels like to be beautiful in a world that doesn't see me, just to remember why I'm fighting. The change was complete. Charity stared at herself. Tears ran down her face, ruining the makeup she just put on. She looked like the woman she always dreamed of being. She looked, she realized with shock, a lot like Rebecca. Not exactly the same, but similar. Same face shape, same soft features, same gentle eyes. Did Linda know this? Charity's stomach twisted. Did Linda send her here so Joshua would see and explode? The door slammed open before she could take off the dress. "I told you never to enter that room." And that brought us back to this morning. As light painted the room gold, Joshua stood by the window staring at his reflection, seeing a man he didn't recognize anymore. Behind him, Charity moved. Her eyes opened. For one beautiful second, she forgot where she was. Then reality crashed down like a building falling. She sat up. She pulled the sheet against her body. Her eyes were wide with horror. Joshua turned. Their eyes met. No words, just two people realizing how big their mistake was. Charity's tears came first, silent and destroying. I should go." "Wait." Joshua's voice was rough. He wanted to say something, anything that would make sense of this. But what words existed for this? Then the door burst open. Linda stood there. Her eyes looked at everything like a hunter. She saw the messy sheets. She saw Charity's tears. She saw the blood. Her scream was so loud, it could break glass. "Mother, mother, come quickly." Mrs. Williams appeared fast, sleep still in her eyes. She looked at the scene. Her face broke with disappointment and shock. Other servants came to the hallway, drawn by Linda's screaming. They witnessed the scandal. "Look what this cheap maid did." Linda's voice was full of fake horror. "She seduced my brother. She came into his room, wearing my dead sister-in-law's dress, and threw herself at him. This is disgusting. This is unforgivable." Charity got out of bed fast. She wrapped the sheet around herself. Tears ran down her face. "Please, I didn't mean—" "Fire her," Linda demanded. She turned to her mother. "Fire her now." "She's a snake. She planned this." "Linda, be quiet," Mrs. Williams said, but her eyes were on Joshua, searching, questioning. Charity fell to her knees, her hands together like prayer, her voice breaking. "Mrs. Williams, please. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I was just cleaning the room like Miss Linda asked." Then, she couldn't finish. How could she explain something that made no sense? "Please don't fire me," Charity begged. Desperation made her voice raw. "My brother and sister depend on me. Samuel and Joy have no one else. If you fire me, how will I feed them? How will I pay for school? Please, I'm begging you. I'll work harder. I'll do anything. Please don't fire me." Her voice broke completely. "My mama just died. I promised her I would take care of them. If I lose this job, what will happen to them? Please, Mom, please. I'll never enter that room again. I'll never make another mistake. Just please give me one more chance." Mrs. Williams looked at her son, waiting for him to speak, to explain, to do something. Joshua stood frozen, watching this girl, this innocent girl, beg for her life while his sister screamed and servants whispered. He thought about the blood on the sheets, proof of her innocence before he touched her. He thought about her eyes last night, full of tears and want and desperate loneliness that matched his own. He thought about his mother's words, "Where is the good man I raised?" And he thought about Rebecca. What would she say if she could see him now? Would she forgive him for trying to find her in another woman's body? Would she hate him for taking advantage of a weak girl? Or would she tell him what she always said when he made mistakes? "Fix it, Joshua. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and fix it." The room went silent. Waiting, Joshua straightened his back. His voice was quiet but strong. "I choose this girl as my wife." The world stopped. Mrs. Williams gasped. Linda's mouth opened in shock. The servants in the hallway started whispering frantically. And Charity looked up, sure she heard wrong. "What?" Linda found her voice first, high and full of disbelief. "What did you say?" "You heard me," Joshua said. He looked at his sister directly. "Charity will be my wife, starting today." "Are you crazy?" Linda screamed. "She's a maid. She's nobody. She's supposed to clean our toilets, not sit at our table. People will laugh at us. They'll say you married the help. Have you lost your mind?" "Maybe I have," Joshua said calmly, "but I made my choice." He turned to Charity. She still knelt on the floor, eyes wide with shock and confusion and something that looked like hope. "Get dressed," he said gently. "We have things to arrange." Mrs. Williams stepped forward. She took control before the situation exploded more. "Linda, come with me. Now." "But Mother." "Now." Mrs. Williams pulled her protesting daughter out of the room. She left Joshua and Charity alone with the mess of the morning. Charity stood slowly. She held the sheet around her. "Why?" Her voice was barely there. "Why would you do this? You could just use me and throw me away. That's what rich men do. Why would you marry me?" Joshua picked up her clothes. He gave them to her. He turned his back to give her privacy. "Because you're not ordinary, Charity. I heard you were in college. I heard you're raising your brother and sister alone. I heard you never complained, never begged for special treatment, never used your pain to get sympathy." He stopped, fighting for words that felt too small. "And most importantly, you were pure. Your innocence, your dignity, even after what I did last night. You still have something unbreakable inside you. I won't let you walk away like you meant nothing. That would make me a monster." Charity dressed slowly. Her mind was spinning. "This is crazy. You don't love me. I don't love you. This is a disaster." "Yes," Joshua agreed, "but it's a disaster I'm choosing to take responsibility for. Unless you want to leave. I'll give you money to take care of your brother and sister, to finish school, to start a business. You'll never have to work as a maid again. You choose." Charity thought about it. Money would solve problems now. But marry a man she barely knew. A man who slept with her while seeing someone else. A man broken by pain. But when she looked in his eyes, she saw something that made her pause. Not love, but responsibility, honor. An attempt to do the right thing even if it was flawed. And maybe that was enough to start with. "If we do this," Charity said slowly, I need to know. Will you treat me like a wife or like a mistake you're fixing? I don't know yet, Joshua said with hard honesty, but I promise to try. That's all I can give right now. Charity nodded. It was more honesty than she expected. Then I accept. The wedding happened that same day. No celebration, no guests, just a quick ceremony at the government office. Mrs. Williams was the witness. Linda refused to come. She locked herself in her room, crying and screaming. The servants whispered like crazy. The billionaire married the maid. The master married the help. Scandal of the year. Some felt sorry for Charity. Others were jealous. None understood. That evening, alone in the bedroom that was now theirs, Joshua and Charity sat on opposite sides of the room. The awkwardness was so thick you could feel it. Why did you really choose me? Charity asked again. She needed to understand. Be honest. Was it guilt, pity, duty? Joshua thought carefully. All of those. But also, last night in the dark, I saw someone who understood being lonely. You didn't try to trap me. You didn't plan this. You were just as lost as me. And that felt real in a world where nothing felt real for 2 years. Charity nodded slowly. Your sister will make my life hell. I'll handle Linda. Your mother must be disappointed. My mother wants me to be happy. She'll understand when she sees I'm trying to rebuild my life. And you? Charity looked at him straight. Will you ever be happy again? Or will you always see her when you look at me? Joshua had no answer. The question was too big, too hard, too painful. I don't know, he said honestly. But I'm willing to find out. The next days were strange and difficult. Mrs. Williams treated Charity with kindness. She tried to make the best of an impossible situation. She helped Charity bring Samuel and Joy to the mansion. They're family now, Mrs. Williams said firmly. They should be close. Charity cried with gratitude. She held her brother and sister tight. At least they would be safe. Federal in school. At least her mother's sacrifice wasn't for nothing. Samuel was quiet at first, looking around the big mansion with big eyes. Sister, is this real? We get to live here? Yes, baby. We're safe now. You can focus on school. You don't have to worry anymore. Joy was more direct. She looked at Joshua suspiciously. Are you nice to my sister? Because if you're mean, I'll tell on you. Joshua, despite everything, smiled a little. The first smile anyone had seen in months. I promised to try my best. But Linda was a different story. She refused to eat meals with Charity. She made cutting remarks when they passed in the hallways. She told her friends terrible versions of the story, making Charity sound like a scheming witch. People are laughing at me, Linda complained to Joshua one afternoon. She cornered him in his study. My friends ask how it feels to have a former maid as my sister-in-law. They mock our family. They say you lost your mind. You made us a joke. Joshua looked up from his laptop. His eyes were cold. Sit down, Linda. I don't want to. Sit down. Linda sat, shocked by the steel in his voice. Listen carefully, Joshua said quietly, because I'll only say this once. Charity is my wife now. That makes her family. You have 2 choices: respect her, treat her right, accept reality, or pack your things and leave this house. Linda's eyes went wide. You can't be serious. I'm your sister. And Charity is my wife. My wife comes first, always. If you can't accept that, you're free to live somewhere else. I'll give you money, but you won't live here where you disrespect my wife. Mother will never allow. This isn't Mother's decision, it's mine. Linda stared at him. She realized for the first time that her brother, broken as he was, had drawn a line she couldn't cross. She left the room crying, but from that day, her open hate turned to cold politeness. She didn't love Charity, she didn't accept her, but she stopped making big scenes, small progress. But progress. Mrs. Williams took a different way. She spent time with Charity. She taught her how to move in high society, how to dress for different occasions, how to handle the pressure of being married to one of the richest men in the country. They'll judge you, Mrs. Williams warned gently. They'll call you names. They'll say you trapped him, you married for money, you must grow thick skin. I have thick skin, Charity replied. Poverty teaches you that. Mrs. Williams smiled. "You're stronger than you know, dear, and smarter. Use that education, finish your degree, show them you're not just a pretty face, show them you have a brain." Charity did exactly that. She went back to college, this time as Mrs. Charity Williams, Billionaire's wife. The stares and whispers followed her everywhere, but she held her head high. She answered questions in class with intelligence and confidence. She studied harder than everyone, and she graduated top of her class. Joshua came to her graduation. He sat in the audience with his mother. When Charity walked across the stage to get her diploma, he stood up and clapped. It wasn't love yet, but it was respect, and respect was ground that love could grow from. Slowly, painfully, like a wound healing from the inside, their relationship changed. Joshua stopped seeing Rebecca when he looked at Charity. He started seeing Charity herself. Funny and smart and incredibly strong. He watched her help Samuel with homework. Her patience was endless. He watched her braid Joy's hair, singing softly. He watched her study late at night, determined to be more than what life tried to make her. And he realized something that shocked him. He respected her. He admired her. Charity, for her part, began to see beyond Joshua's pain. She saw a man trying hard to rebuild himself, a man who kept his promises, a man who defended her even when it cost him. She started noticing small things, how he made sure Samuel had everything he needed for school, how he hired the best doctors when Joy got sick, how he never raised his voice at her even when Linda was being impossible, how he asked about her day and actually listened to her answers. "Why are you being so kind?" she asked him one night. They were having dinner alone, something they did more often now. Joshua looked at her, really looked at her. "Because you deserve kindness, and because I'm starting to see who you really are. Not a maid, not a mistake, just Charity, and Charity is someone worth knowing." Her heart did something strange in her chest, something that felt like the beginning of falling. One evening, 6 months into their marriage, they sat together on the balcony, looking at the city lights below. The silence between them wasn't awkward anymore. It was comfortable. "I never thanked you properly," Charity said quietly. "For what? For not throwing me away when you could have. For giving me dignity when you could have just paid me off and forgotten I existed." Joshua turned to look at her. The moonlight caught her face just right, and he saw her clearly for the first time. Not a replacement for anything, not a mistake, just Charity. "I'm the one who should thank you," he said. "You could have taken money and run. Instead, you stayed. You gave this broken situation a chance. You made it work even when it was hard." "We made it work," Charity corrected softly. "Together." Joshua reached out slowly. He hesitated, then he took her hand. She didn't pull away. "I'm not ready to say I love you," Joshua admitted. His voice was rough with emotion. "I don't know if I'll ever love anyone the way I loved Rebecca. That kind of love, it only comes once." "I know," Charity said. She squeezed his hand gently. "And I'm not asking you to. But maybe we can find a different kind of love. Not a replacement, just something new, something ours." "I'd like that," Joshua said softly. And in that moment, under the stars, with the city breathing below them, two people who started in disaster found the first seeds of something real. More months passed. Life settled into a rhythm. Charity finished her education with honors. She started her own consulting business, helping small businesses grow. She was good at it. Really good. She used her wealth to build a school in her home village. She named it after her mother. Mama Blessing Memorial School. The day they opened it, Charity stood in front of the building crying. Joshua stood beside her, his arm around her shoulders. "She would be so proud of you," he whispered. "I hope so," Charity said through tears. "I hope she knows I kept my promise. I took care of Samuel and Joy. I made something of myself. I didn't let poverty win." "She knows," Joshua said with certainty. "Trust me, she knows." Samuel was thriving. He was doing great in school. He wanted to be a doctor. He studied hard every day. Joy was happy and healthy. She loved her new school. She made friends easily. Sometimes Charity watched them playing in the garden and couldn't believe how much their lives had changed. Linda, though never warm, stopped being hostile. She saw how happy her mother was, how Joshua smiled again. Real smiles. She saw how Charity treated everyone with respect and kindness. Slowly, Linda's ice began to melt. One morning, she even said good morning to Charity without sarcasm. Charity almost dropped her tray. Progress was slow but genuine. Mrs. Williams adored her daughter-in-law. She told anyone who'd listen how proud she was of Charity, how the girl had transformed her son's life. "You saved my son," she told Charity one evening over tea. "He was dying inside, walking like a ghost. You brought him back. He saved me too," Charity said softly. "I was drowning in responsibility and grief. We saved each other." Joshua changed the most. His smile, once lost, returned, not carefree but real. He started taking weekends off, spending time with Charity, Samuel, and Joy. They went on picnics, watched movies, and acted like a true family. He finally cleared Rebecca's belongings, not to erase her, but to make space for new memories. He kept her photos and favorite book, yet the room became theirs, a place of healing and hope. A year after that chaotic morning, everything was different. Charity's business thrived. Samuel dreamed of becoming a doctor. Joy wanted to teach. Linda smiled at dinners, and Mrs. Williams glowed with peace. Joshua had found what he thought was lost forever, the ability to feel. One evening, as Charity brushed her hair, Joshua watched her from across the room. Without planning to, he said, "I love you." She froze, eyes wide. "What?" He stood, turning her toward him. "I love you, Charity. Not out of duty or debt, but because you're you, strong, kind, impossible not to love." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you too. I've loved you for months, but was scared you'd never love me back. Scared I was just filling a space that belonged to someone else." "You're not filling anyone's space," Joshua said firmly, wiping her tears. "Rebecca was my past, but you're my future, my everything now." They kissed, tender, real, full of promise. Two souls who found beauty in the wreckage. The next morning, during breakfast, Joshua made an announcement. "Our wedding was rushed, just paperwork. I want a real wedding this time, so the world knows how proud I am to call Charity my wife." Charity cried. "You don't have to." "I want to," he said, taking her hand. "I didn't marry you out of guilt. I married you because you're the best thing that ever happened to me." Mrs. Williams wept. Even Linda's eyes glistened, though she quickly wiped them. Samuel grinned. "Do I get to wear another suit? The last one was awesome." Everyone laughed, real, heartwarming laughter. 3 months later, the wedding took place. It was everything the first wasn't. Beautiful, joyful, full of love. Charity wore a stunning white gown, simple, elegant, perfect. Her smile was the brightest thing in the room. Joshua couldn't look away. As she walked down the aisle, tears welled in his eyes. Samuel escorted her, trying to be strong, but when he handed her hand to Joshua, tears spilled. "Take care of my sister," he whispered. "She's all joy and I have." "I promise," Joshua replied. "I'll protect her, honor her, and love her for the rest of my life." The ceremony was simple yet profound. The pastor spoke about second chances, how God brings beauty from ashes. Joshua spoke first. "Charity, when you walked into my life, I was broken. You didn't try to fix me or replace what I lost. You showed me that life could still be beautiful, that love could bloom again. You cared for my family, loved my mother, and even won over my stubborn sister." Laughter rippled through the guests. "You showed me true strength, how a woman can lose everything, yet keep her dignity and hope. I promise to make you happy and never let you regret saying yes. I love you more than words can say." By the time he finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Charity took a shaky breath. "Joshua, I came into your house as a maid. I thought that was all I'd ever be, someone invisible. But you saw me. You gave me dignity when you could have destroyed me. You chose honor over convenience. You gave my siblings and me a future. You made me feel worthy. I'm just a village girl who got lucky, but I promise to love you with everything I have, to be your partner, your home. I love you, Joshua Williams." "Thank you for choosing me," the pastor was crying. So were the guests, Mrs. Williams, and even the choir. When he said, "You may kiss the bride," Joshua kissed her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Because she was. At the reception, laughter filled the air. Mrs. Williams gave the first toast. "I lost my daughter-in-law Rebecca 2 years ago. It shattered us. Then Charity came, humble, kind, full of light. She didn't replace Rebecca. She made her own place. She brought joy back into our home. Charity, welcome officially. I love you, my daughter. Then Linda stood. Everyone tensed. Her relationship with Charity had always been complicated. When Joshua said he was marrying Charity, I was furious, she admitted. I thought he was making a mistake. I said and did terrible things. I was scared of change, of losing my brother and mother's love. But Charity never took anything from me, she only gave. She was kind when I was cruel. She showed me that real class is about character. Charity, you're a better woman than I'll ever be. I'm proud to call you my sister. Both women cried and hugged. Truly, for the first time, Samuel spoke next. My sister raised me after our mother died. She worked so hard for us. When she married Mr. Joshua, everything changed. Thank you, sir, for loving her and treating us like family. Charity, Mama would be proud. You kept your promise, then little Joy spoke. I don't remember much before Mama died, but I remember being hungry and scared. Now we have a home. Grandma gives me cookies. Charity smiles again. That makes me happy. Thank you, Uncle Joshua, for making my sister smile. Joshua turned away to hide his tears. The celebration lasted late into the night. When it finally quieted, Joshua and Charity stood on the balcony beneath the stars. He wrapped his arms around her. Are you happy? He asked. More than I ever dreamed, she said. You? For the first time in years, he answered. You brought me back to life. We brought each other back, she whispered. They stood silently, watching the sky. Do you think your mother would be happy? He asked. Charity smiled at the stars. I think she's watching and smiling. She always said I'd wear beautiful things and live in beautiful places. She believed in me even when I didn't. She sees, Joshua said, and she's proud. And Rebecca? Charity asked softly. Joshua thought deeply. Yes, she made me promise to live, to love again. You showed me my heart could hold two loves, one that was and one that is. I think she'd like you. You're both strong and full of grace. I'll never erase her memory, Charity said. She's part of you. I respect that. I know, Joshua said, kissing her forehead. That's one reason I love you. Months became years. Samuel fulfilled his dream, becoming a doctor. Charity and Joshua cheered loudest at his graduation. Joy became a teacher and opened a school beside the one Charity built. Linda married a kind man and grew softer, truly becoming Charity's sister. Mrs. Williams lived long enough to meet her grandchildren, 3 beautiful children whom she spoiled endlessly. She loved telling them the story of how their parents met and how love can bloom from brokenness. Charity's business flourished, employing hundreds, mostly women who just needed a chance. She never forgot where she came from. Joshua's company thrived too, but he'd learned balance. He worked to live, not the other way around. Every anniversary, they returned to the bedroom where everything began, where disaster became destiny. They'd sit together, remembering that morning. Do you regret it? Charity asked one year. Joshua smiled, not for a second. That night was messy, but it gave me everything. I don't regret it either, she said. Sometimes God uses the most broken moments to write the most beautiful stories. Amen to that, Joshua whispered, kissing her softly. In that room where everything changed, where a maid wore a dress she shouldn't have, where a grieving man found grace, love won. Against all odds, love won. People say money solves everything, or that poverty is the worst curse. But this story proves something greater, that character outlasts wealth, that dignity can't be bought, and that love doesn't measure status. It measures the heart. Charity entered that mansion as a maid and left as a wife. But her greatest transformation wasn't her title. It was how she was seen, valued, and loved. Joshua entered as a man imprisoned by grief and left reborn, ready to live again. Sometimes the worst days of our lives are doorways to our best ones. Sometimes what looks like the end is really the beginning. Sometimes disaster is destiny in disguise, and if you're someone who looks down on others because of their job or their clothes or their circumstances, remember this. That maid you ignore might be someone's hero. That cleaner you disrespect might be raising 3 kids alone. That person serving you might have dreams bigger than yours. Treat everyone with respect. You never know their story. You never know what they're carrying. You never know what they're fighting. Now tell us, where are you watching from? Lagos, Abuja, Accra, Nairobi, Cape Town, London, Paris, Toronto, New York, Karachi, Dubai, Mumbai. Drop your location in the comments so we can see how far love and respect can travel across this world. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. It helps us reach more people who need to hear these messages. Drop a comment telling us what you learned from Charity and Joshua's story. Was it about second chances? About dignity? About love growing in unexpected places? We want to hear from you. Hit subscribe to African Tales so you never miss stories that make you think, make you feel, and make you believe in good things again. Turn on notifications so you're first to see every new upload. And share this video with someone who needs hope today, someone who's struggling, someone who feels stuck, someone who thinks their situation is impossible. Let them see that Charity's impossible situation became her greatest blessing. Let them see that Joshua's darkest moment led to his brightest future. Let them see that miracles still happen. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for believing that stories matter, that love matters, that people matter. We'll see you in the next story. And remember, your story isn't over yet. The best chapters might still be unwritten. Keep believing, keep fighting, keep loving. God bless you all.